Hello, good evening. I'm Oral Gibbs, and welcome to Speaking of Everything. Well, tonight I have every time I tell you I have an interesting guest, but tonight I have a couple. They're very, very interesting. I'm proud to have them here in the program. I'm sure you all know this gentleman. He looks familiar. He looks like, well, this is Mr. Lake, Mr. Steve Lake. Mr. Lake, you're the brother of MP.
That's
Lake,
right. I'm the brother of the youngest brother of the MP, Maurice Lake.
Oh, okay, you're the youngest one. Wow, man. How many brothers are you?
We are 4 in total.
Okay. Sisters?
No sisters, 4 boys.
All right. And you have a very interesting background because you are working in a hospital in the Netherlands?
Yes, I'm working at the University Medical Center in Utrecht for the last 13 and a half years. Previously, I worked in the academic hospital in Maastricht for 4 or 5 years.
And you're a medical technician, organ transplant?
Yes. When I went to Holland, I first started studying biology. I graduated from that studies, and then I did medical microbiology. I studied. And after that, I went to work in Maastricht research and with viruses and the diagnostics. And after that, I get into organ transplant at the Medical University in Utrecht.
All right. And you also brought along another very interesting person.
Exactly.
Your wife. How are you doing this?
I'm fine. It's great to be here.
Thank you for being here. And you are in the legal area, right?
Yes, I studied law at the University of Nijmegen. And before that, actually, in Eindhoven, I did management, economics, and law.
Oh, okay.
And that's the field I work in at the moment.
And it's very interesting?
Very interesting. Always developments, and it's a nice challenge.
Never 2 days the same, right?
Never 2 days the same. And long days sometimes.
Okay. All right, so good to have both of you here. So you all are here on vacation?
Yeah, we're spending time with family. Actually, we came down for 2 weeks. I wanted to surprise a sister of mine. And so she's looking, hi, Jackie. And so she made birthday and we wanted to surprise her. So we came down so we could spend some time with the family.
That's nice. So how did you all meet? You all met in Holland?
Actually, we've known each other several years
because we went to
MPC.
And also we went to the same primary school or in the school.
Yeah.
But and until up to the 4th grade, we were in the same classes as friends. And I went to a private school after that, and we met in HAVO at the MPC. So and we were this.
But we were always just friends. We actually became a couple when we moved to Holland and started dating in Holland. And that came about learning to bike. He taught me how to bike, and we would go to volleyball together. And, you know, we had a lot of friends from St. Martin. We'd get together, have parties together,
So was it difficult to bike in Holland because almost everybody have to ride bikes here, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess a lot of my friends and students that went up, they already had some basic ideas of biking, and but I really needed to learn from scratch. So for me, it was very interesting to be in the park and getting off the path and butting into to trees, or being on the bicycle path and losing control and butting into other bikers. So that was a fun new way of handling yourself once you're on the road. But it's in general, everybody bikes in Holland. So you need a bike. It's always good to get to school by bike, unless you're in a different city.
Right.
But yeah, so biking was a big experience for me.
And for me, it was pretty easy because I comes out a cycling family. So 3 of my brothers were competing on St. Martin in cycling races and stuff. So I grew up with bikes. So I always used to bike, so it wasn't a problem for me, and I could came natural, and I could teach others how to do it.
Oh, but we have so many from the old school days. We have so many friends that remember all the antics and all that we went through. Yeah. We have a lot of inside jokes. I can't share them.
That's nice, but you're like a power couple in Holland, man.
And we made the
Exactly.
best of our opportunities, that's for sure. And, you know, we're both well educated and successful in our fields. And so that's, you can call it, you know, some people say, you know, you're lucky, you're blessed. We feel that we're blessed.
We went with a goal to Holland as ambassadors of this island to achieve
The goals we
the
set for
goals
ourselves.
that we set for ourselves, and we did that. And afterward, we wanted to get experience, and that's what we did. We went into the working field and also managed in the last years to increase our
and
knowledge
to have leadership
exactly positions for ourselves.
positions. And I mean, where I work, I'm, you know, one of the top people at my job, and I get a lot of opportunities to not only just deal with law and give advice internally, but to also be in contact with, you know, de VWS, het ministerie van VWS, Volksgezondheid, Welzijn en Sport. That's a nice opportunity to present yourself on a different level and to be in contact with different important people, and at the same time learn from each other and share your knowledge. And that's a good way to be busy, and that's a great way to work on a daily basis.
And what about your husband? You are in the medical field, and is it long hours?
It's very long hours, our gigs, because we are 24 hours on duty, on call. So I make a lot of long hours, and that's why we are now living presently in Zeist, because I need to be close to the hospital. And when I do get called up for a donor procedure, I have to work sometimes 24 hours before I get off the next day. So I make a lot of long hours, and it's... but of course,
let me ask you this: what's a typical day like in your field in terms of you get a call and there's an organ transplant that needs to be done? What happens?
Well, at our hospital, our department, we have heart, lung, kidneys, and stem cell transplants. We do. And we have a lot of patients on waiting list, and we make sure that they are prepared for their operations, for their transplant. And when a donor becomes available, we have to, of course, act on that to make sure to give the okay for the operation. So usually when I'm on call, it's going about the kidneys transplants, and then I get called up.
Then what do you have to do? You have to go get the organ?
Now the organ is transported to the hospital, because usually there's a team that brings the organs to the hospital. And I get called up, and I have to make sure that the matching and everything is appropriate for the receiver. So I have to make sure, I have to give the okay to the operation room for the transplant to
It's a long procedure, because
it's a very long
it takes something like 8 hours before all the testing is done.
It's a lot of testing, and there's a lot of comparison of different results that you have to put together before, of course, you give that okay to the operation room so they can proceed with
no room for error there at all.
No room for error, because like for lung transplant and a lot of stuff, there's only one time you can transplant a lung or something, so nothing can go wrong. But you are trained especially for this task. So I had to be trained in the hospital for 2 years before I was able to perform and do this on my own.
So when you have to, when the organ comes in, for example, a heart, do you personally or physically see that heart, or you just look at the blood and so forth from that patient, etc.?
Now, we do get to see the organs, because the organs are transported in transport boxes and stuff, and sometimes I need to go and get material by the organ. So we do get to see the organs, but like for a heart transplant, it's very complicated, because you have to transplant the heart within a certain amount of time. Within 6 hours, a heart should be taken out and put into the recipient. So it's different than like kidney transplants, where you can take up to 48 hours. And then, of course, the organ remains in a box in a cooling system for all that time.
So
and we work also with different European countries. So sometimes organs, like a kidney, is flown from Croatia to Holland, and then it's transported to the hospital. And while all that transport is going on, of course, I'm doing my work to make sure that the recipient is, that the matching is perfect, because the better the matching, the...
All right. Here speaking with Mr. Lake. Mr. Lake is a medical technician, organ transplant, and we also have his wife, Mrs. Lake, and she's legal advisor and mediation, right?
Yes, I work in the field of mediation as well as law.
You know, mediation is something that, for some reason in St. Martin, people don't like to hear about mediation.
Yes.
Last, they had an attorney here that spoke about mediation that's now beginning to get a little popular in St. Martin.
Mm-hmm.
How is it in Holland?
Well, Holland is very popular at the moment. You know, it's expensive to have a case. To go to courts is very expensive. So
Yeah.
companies prefer, if possible, that you can sit down with a mediator and try to hash out what the problem is and see if the parties can come to some kind of agreement to avoid the long process of a court case and the expenses that are involved. So in general, we choose to sit down with parties, and that's where mediation becomes a very important role that you can play as a mediator. Yeah.
Because, you know, when you look at St. Martin, people want to go to court, they want to win, and somebody lose.
Mm-hmm.
And in mediation, I don't think it's always like that, right?
No, mediation is actually intended that the parties come up with a solution that's most fitting for their situation. So if there's a conflict, mediator will sit you down, will try to get all the different information that could be important,
Yeah.
but the mediator doesn't normally decide. Actually, the parties decide what's the best solution, what we can move forward with, and that means that you know, if you come to an agreement, because a mediation can be broken off at any moment. So that's also important to know. Once you step into the process of mediation, you're actually saying, I'm open to all solutions. I'm going to try and find a proper solution for my situation. However, if it's not working and the parties aren't working together, aren't dedicated, sometimes it comes to a point where you say, we're going to break off the mediation. We're not going to come to an agreement or arrangement. So we still can go to court, but that's the last resort. In general, the mediator will try to keep you at the table and keep you working and keep you looking for a good solution. And once you have a good solution, in general, both parties are so happy that they found something that they both can agree on. You leave the table thinking you both won something. So it's not the same thing as a contentious case where you go to courts and the judge decides and there's always a loser and there's always a winner.
So now, you know, you don't find many people from St. Martin in the Netherlands with the kind of background, both of you, in medical and legal area. Or am I making a mistake here? Are there many? Do you have other friends in the same area?
I do know a few people that is also in the medical, that's doctors.
So Lake,
that is exactly Emiko Lake. She's she just she's exactly, and I do know a few others that also studied in the medical field and also is doing successful in a hospital in Holland, so one of the hospitals. So there are a few professionals from the island.
What about in the legal area?
You know, in the legal area, there are a lot of St. Martiners that are doing well, but most of them, several of them have moved back to the island and are working on the island. In my area, in where I'm working, I have no St. Martiners. I mean, I work for a very big insurance company, and you know, our legal department is big. We have more than 60 lawyers working there, and spread out over the different locations within the Netherlands. And I'm the only legal advisor with a ethnic background. And so when I walk into a room, people notice me, and that's good. So I can stand up and say, where I'm from, and be an ambassador for St. Martin. And we have a lot of friends that studied and along the years and have moved back to St. Martin and are working here. Yeah. But they're not as much that we know in Holland itself.
You know what I find strange, because over the last few years we've heard so many young people going to Holland and not being able to complete their studies and returning for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Did you ever felt like returning during your studies and say, well, I'm going to give this up because it's too difficult or anything like that?
When you go to Holland and you start your studies, sometimes you're just expecting it to be the same thing like on St. Martin. You study a little bit, you spend a few hours in your books, and that's enough to get you through. That's not the case. You have to really work hard. And, St. Martiners or Antillians in the Dutch Netherlands, they don't have a very good reputation. So you will always find people have a certain prejudice against you. They expect certain things. They don't expect you to do well. They don't expect you to achieve a lot. So they make it more difficult for you. But at the same time, the opportunity is there. So you have to make the best of your opportunities. And if you are in a situation where you're thinking, it's not going well, I have to consider whether I can continue to study, I would like to encourage young people to continue, to not give up. You came to the Netherlands with, or even if you're in the States and you're considering giving up, you came to the university, you came to that town with a certain goal, and it's important that you try and achieve what you came for.
And I think, Aurel, that information and preparation is very important. If I'd been given the information about different possibilities, I would have been able to prepare myself better. But I had to go and find out a lot of things on my own. So when I first went to Holland, I would never say that I would have been an organ transplant, because it was something never exposed to me here on St. Martin. Okay. So it's a specialism that I went into after being in Holland. And I do think it's very difficult. St. Martin's very far away from Holland, that we inform at the schools and give them the information of different possibilities. And living in Holland, you can go to open days and the schools, and your parents usually support you in what the possibilities are. Mm-hmm. So they discuss that with you during dinner and at home. We don't have that. We don't have that. We are just have to go abroad and have to perform right away. And sometimes you see youngsters, they go up, and the first year they have it very difficult because they have to adjust to the new environment, the situation. They have to regulate a lot for themselves, and also they have to perform and study.
And the support systems are back on the island, huh?
Exactly.
Most times the support systems are not ready and right there every evening with you.
To coach them
But
properly.
Technology is great. You can Skype. You can look for support at home, and you can get the contacts and the information you need. You can Google, you can look up stuff. So it's a little different than when we first left the island and went to Holland to study. But the most important thing that I think young people who are away and studying abroad and studying should know, in order to be a success, you have to give. Whatever you put into your studies is what you're going to get out of it.
I have to ask because, St. Martin since 10 is going through some difficult times, and the government is always asking for so many lawyers, because if you look at this island, everything have a legal issue part of it. Yeah. And you in the legal field, any plans to come back to St. Martin?
I get that question a lot, and as a matter of fact, I've said on several occasions, within 2 years, I will be ready to come back to St. Martin. And so many years have passed since then that my family always said to me, listen, we don't want to hear about these 2 years. We want you to come back next year. We want you to make plans and move back next year. But the opportunities I've had in Holland and the growth I've had the last few years has been preparing me to come back eventually. So it's always my intention to come back. And I've noticed I've grown the last 3 years immensely in my field. I have so many opportunities at work. I'm about to peak at work. So, you know, if you get to a point where you think the challenge is, you're going to lose the challenge of every day dealing with different situations, you're starting to see stuff that you say, okay, I can deal with it like this. This is precedence. This is, So basically, long story short, I am looking into a possibility to move back to St. Martin and start a business here.
And the same thing goes for me, Aurel, because in the medical field, I mean, I work in the hospital, also on different teams. I mean, on audit teams, improving the quality of medical care. And I know that's also an issue here in St. Martin because I don't think the people get the proper, I'm coming back to the information, the preparation and the guidance through a lot of stuff.
It's small, you know, it's such a small island. And
exactly, such a small island, but we do have the knowledge and experienced
and
people that can,
that need
good quality health care. So I think I will also play a very important role of all my experience and knowledge, bringing it over. I mean, I help also there to improve the quality, but I can also help do the same thing here on this island because the quality have to goes up, and everyone is about improving quality.
Yeah, I think it's very good because you know there are plans to expand the medical center and a lot of other things. So I think this island is growing. It's small, but it's growing, and our problems and our needs are just like any other place in the world. So we need people in the
experts. We need the experts, the professionals, because if you look at it, most of the stuff for specialized stuff, we send it to Carousel, and from Carousel it goes to Holland. So in our hospital, we get a lot of stuff from the Caribbean, and I'm like, if we invest in having these things close to home, we can do these things ourselves.
And we can be more efficient.
We have the knowledge and we have everything. We just have to get it going.
We can become the center for the region.
Exactly. You know, that would be something that would be bringing in money for us instead of always having that we have a deficit and we can't afford to pay certain things. If you could organize it properly, you could actually try and make some money out of it.
Speaking here with Mr. and Mrs. Lake, they're my guests this evening, and speaking of everything. And I mean, the time is going so fast. Back at the dinner, a whole 1 hour live show with you too. But anyways, it's nice to be here speaking with you all because I'm happy to know that we have people in the Netherlands that are working and contributing, and someday we hope to see you all back here and doing what you're doing for Holland, for St. Martin.
Most definitely, Aurel. I mean, my goal was to achieve an education for myself, and that's why I left this island to achieve something, and I did manage to achieve my goals that I set for myself, and my next goal is, of course, to also bring St. Martin to a higher level and do my part in raising that bar.
You know, because people say, "Oh man, St. Martin students are dumb. They can't." You're proof that they're not.
Exactly. We operate with the top, and believe me, in our hospital, I mean, they look at me for advice for everything. So if I can do it there and function pretty good, I'm more than definite that here on this island, I'd be able to do the same. I'd be able to improve the quality, be critical about systems, and also to develop stuff on the island. So
you know, the most important thing is that we need to encourage our young people when they're going away to study. Give it your all. Don't give up easily. And most important, remember that knowledge is power. You know, I remember back in the day, there was a slogan at the Jubilee Library, and it had to do with always reading and acquiring knowledge so that you can enrich yourself and enrich the people around you. And that's something that I've always held in the back of my mind, and I would like to encourage young people when they're going away to study to know that whatever you put into your books, the time you invest is what you will receive much more from it.
No, I'm glad
always
you said
that.
Because I remember a few years ago, when my first daughter was going to Holland, there was one of the students speaking. She said, you know, if you go to study law, the books are so big. You got
yeah.
and everybody got scared. you know?
It's important. You need to know the stuff to be able to defend yourself and to defend others. You need to invest time in reading and learning stuff.
Well, you know, it's so good speaking with both of you here this evening, because you all make me proud to see that we have people in the Netherlands that are doing a great job. Both of you, I want to wish you, Mr. Lake, much success. And I hope, I really, really hope that we can see both of you back here sometime, not on vacation.
Exactly.
But
Living and working on it
right?
and
And
contributing.
we also want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to also share our
Experiences and our knowledge here
and
tonight. Yeah.
let the people of St. Martin know that there are a lot of people that out there working hard in the name of St. Martin and ambassadors for this country, and it's successful and are doing good. So we would like to, of course, encourage, as my wife say, the young people to go after your dreams and goals and have that determination to become what you want to become.
Well, again, thank you, and both of you make us proud. All right?
Thank you.
Good to be, it was
Thank
good to
you.
be here. Thank you.
All right, and that's it for now. We'll see you next time right here on Speaking of Everything. Until then, good night. Take care. Bye.